Otro video para ti hoy. Este es Ron con AnetComputers.com. Another video for you today. That's what I said in Spanish. Here's a quiz. Which sentence means another video for you today? I bet you don't know. And I can't be bothered teaching you Spanish. Because remember, I am the ultimate narcissist now. So I play the part. I made a video, what was it, Saturday. I received some computers for recycling. You know, no big deal. Now I'm going to go over to the second computer. This one I should be able to sell. It's an HP Pavilion P6 series. It's actually a P6-2108P. And I haven't taken a look at it. I haven't even opened it up. I don't clean these computers and I don't open them up until something fails on them. And I wait until the last thing I do is I take the case cover off and I blow out the dust and I clean the dust out and I clean it. I usually just use water, but if there's really, you know, if I have to, I use some liquid cleaning agent, but I usually just spray it on a cloth and then rub it. Anyway, but I save that for last. So we can kind of just quickly take a gander at what computer I have. It's a P6-2108P. Now this one I will be able to sell on Amazon, which I prefer because I may not find the listing, but Amazon is a disaster. I'll be blunt and honest like I always am. I used to love selling on Amazon as an Amazon seller. Now I fucking hate it. Do you know why I fucking hate it? Because they require two-factor authentication. Not only do they require two-factor authentication, you either have to have two numbers. A dumb device phone number, so you get codes sent to you, and a backup phone number. Well, I only have one phone number. But there is a second option. You have to install an application on your Android that will get codes every 30 seconds. It's like holy fuck. And then, since I haven't sold on Amazon for a while, my account is disabled because I needed to update my credit card information, and I updated my credit card information like over a week ago, even though it says after 48 hours it'll enable your account. Anyways, so this is the specifications for this computer, most likely. I just want to show you what I do. It's just a proverbial prototypical HP Pavilion desktop. It's a mini desktop or medium, whatever they call it. It's not very large. There's not much expansion. And I'm going to leave it the way it is. Now, sometimes I take out the hard drives and I keep the larger hard drive and throw in a smaller one like a 500 gig. But Amazon, I don't think technically you have to. You are allowed to sell used computers on Amazon. But one time I sold a computer and the customer called me up and he asked me why I sold a computer to him with a smaller hard drive. Well, I explained to him that I added notes, which you're allowed to do. You can sell refurbished computers on Amazon. Sometimes, you know, you just replace the hard drive or whatever failing component or whatever missing component. And he told me, I told him, I said, look, it's in the ad, and he verified it. He said, well, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have bought it. And I was like, oh. So I'm not out there to scam people, but I did stipulate that I included a smaller hard drive. So this time, I think I'm just going to try to sell the original computer. And you know what I'm saying, because this computer has a terabyte hard drive. It has 6 gigs of RAM. Although you know I'm frothing at the mouth with a terabyte hard drive. I'm like, well, gee whiz, you know, I could just take it out and I could use it and hook it up for storage. I'm gonna try to make additional money renting out my hard drive space on storage. And a terabyte hard drive would be excellent to test that out. But then I was like, well, you know what? I had that one customer call me and fucking tell me he wouldn't have bought it. So this time I'm going to leave it alone. And when I get a computer, I just quickly look through the outside. I just quickly looked for any damage. There's some scratches, but the original owner, I think, left the little plastic. Here, let me transition now. So I just wanted to show you, you know, what I do. I look up a specifications page. Here's the Amazon. I think this is the ad. With Amazon, it's really easy to sell, but when you sell used equipment on Amazon, like computers, you have to sell the exact same computer by either serial number or a lot of times the UPC code. And I entered in the UPC code or the product number, which I think is similar number, if not the same. And this in the back end when I finally could log in, but I wasn't able to list the item. Amazon is really easy to list too. eBay, you a lot of times you have to add in a bunch of text. Now there are Amazon, as long as you have the right UPC code, and there's already an ad, all you do is click a button that says sell. It says like right here, have one to sell on Amazon. Only when you log in it's orange. And that's it. And then everything else is pre-filled. Now you are able to add notes, which I do. And I also, believe it or not, I also take pictures too. I take like 4 or 5 pictures and I upload them because I've noticed that my items sell faster. And since I don't, you know, I'm not a huge seller on Amazon and I have very little feedback, that by me taking real photos, my items sell quicker and they actually sell. Anyways, so I just thought I'd share that with you. eBay is a little bit different. eBay, you can pretty much list anything, whereas Amazon, with certain items, you have to literally, they have to have the UPC code already entered. If the UPC code does not exist, it's a fucking pain in the ass for them to even add it. You have to like, yeah, I think you have to proof of purchase with a receipt, or you have to go through all these dog and pony show to get them to add it. At least when I looked into it. All right, let's move on from this. So here's the computer. I just take a quick gander, you know. I look at the back, and I haven't even powered it on yet. And that's all I do. I just quickly scan it for damage. You know what I'm saying? If it's a desktop. And now we can plug it in. And let me think how I'm going to do this. Because I'd like to plug it in and kind of test it out on camera. But, you know, the problem is I don't have an extension cord long enough. I might be able to get one. Laptops sit up here real easy. But desktops, you know. Let me see if I have a longer cable I can use. Oh yeah, this one reaches, see? Okay, so I've been real busy today, so I never script my videos, but sometimes if I have time, then I will kind of prepare in advance. But today I had a customer. I sold my second G5 that I just recycled. Like what, 2 weeks ago? I sold 2 Power Mac G5s, the PowerPC version, the IBMs, in about 2 weeks, and I received $80 for both of them. I listed them for $100 on Craigslist, and both buyers were on Craigslist, even though I don't like Craigslist buyers, but whatever. And then this guy looked at it yesterday, but he was kind of hesitant, so today he brought me both of his hard drives from his existing G5 Mac, Power Mac that's not working, And he installed the drives and it booted right up. And it's fast as fuck. It booted off the first hard drive, which had, what was it, Leopard 10.5.6. His secondary hard drive mounted. He was able to access all his files. He was worried that his hard drives went bad, or that, you know, he was worried that he lost data. He didn't lose any data. And when we shut down the machine, and these are older hard drives, and loaded with, you know, Leopard, but he says it's been like years. They're like over 10-year-old hard drives. And he says it's been a long time since he even loaded the OS. It shut down in about 5 seconds. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. So you can make money selling pre-owned equipment, but you just have to know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't rip people off. I make sure that the equipment works. Basically, I make it as if I'm buying it, and I want the computers to last. So now let me hook up a monitor. Now this might be difficult for me to get it in the camera, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I need to get a video capture card. I'll just hook it up to VGA. Oh, it's missing. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. I need another longer cable. Or, you know what? I might be able to do this. As soon as I get a video capture card, I got to order one from China. Then I think this will be much easier. I'll be able to just hook up any computer to my existing streaming computer, and then you'll be able to see the display. So let me try this. I might be able to put it up like this. I think that'll suffice for now. So we've got, I can even move the camera up a little bit now. Whoops. There we go. I can move the camera. Wow, that's not really the best. See, this is why I would have prepared, and I would have had this all set up better. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. Why the fuck is it doing that? Come on. Hold on a second. Let me fucking adjust the camera and then I'll be back. Alrighty, so I'm gonna boot it up and we'll see what happens. Okay. I could use a keyboard, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I just want to boot it up. I just want to make sure it posts, is basically what I want to do. Most likely the previous owner, or I don't know, whoever dropped off this equipment the other day probably wiped the hard drive. If I was a betting man. So I'm going to hit the button on the front of the computer, or the top right. Oh, the light comes on. You could hear it. And let's see if it boots. Executing post delay, press escape key for start menu. I'm not sure why. This is a different type of a BIOS. Continue startup. We'll try that. Product name. Press any. Why does it ask you? System information. Diagnostics. What the fuck? Why is the video so terrible? It's an AMD processor with Radeon HD graphics. Looks like a 2.4 gigahertz pen. It's a dual core. Actually, it's got 8 gigs of memory. The original HP came with 6 gigabytes, so I could probably still take out 2 gigabytes, which I'll probably do. I can always use spare memory. If I can, well, it looks like it might be just 2 4 gig, but I can mix and match. But you just have to make sure you get the right speed of memory. So how about continue startup? FAT32. Well, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. File browser. Dude, I just want to fucking boot the goddamn computer. Let's go into the BIOS. UEFI boot sources. Hard drive. SATA 1. I mean, come on. Yeah, see? I told you. Let me readjust that. I think. Anyways. It says it's cut off. I don't know why that is. Non-system disk, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah, okay. He most likely wiped it because he wiped the laptop, the Pentium 3 laptop. So I figured, well, if I was a bet man, I'd say he wiped all the drives. I don't like that boot crap. I'm gonna fix that because if I sell this, believe it or not, most people probably don't even know what a BIOS is, basic input output system. And if they see a menu like that and they have to go through all this bullshit to boot it up, guess what? I get a phone call, and I don't like phone calls from people that I sell to, because I do everything possible to reduce the phone calls I do get, because phone calls just waste your time. You know what I'm saying? I very rarely get any phone calls when I sell computers. That's how thorough I am. That's seriously. All right, well, let's see. What can we do in the BIOS? I want to fix that because it's annoying me. It annoys the fuck out of me having to go through all that bullshit. So what we can do is go into the, I think it's was it F9? No. Let's see, I can even move this back a little bit. Oh, let me move it to the right. And let me move the camera down a little bit now. Oh, come on. Quit stupid piece of shit. Come on. Jesus Christ. I'm not religious. If you're offended by me, I don't give a fuck. I don't have time to kiss religious people's ass. When it comes to religious people, I have a very short fuse. It's any religious person. Judaism, Islam, Christianity. Total ridiculousness, man. And I'm a former Christian, so I have every right to criticize religion, because I know how mentally ill and just obnoxious it is. There's no reality, there's no logic in religion. It's absurd to think that. I don't want to talk about religion. But, that's good enough. If you don't like the quality of my videos, I don't give a fuck either about that. Alright, I think to get into the BIOS, it should say executing post delay, startup screen. See, this is just stupid. Computer setup. Now you notice how it has a system recovery. We can try that, but if I was a betting man, the recovery partition has been wiped. Now the display isn't 100%, so what we can do is we can go into the menu, and I don't want to waste too much time fucking with this, but you can reset the menu, or you can reset the monitor, and that should fix that right there. So we're gonna, god damn it, you're gonna hear a lot of cursing in this video, I can already tell. Damn it. Oh, I think there we go. Now press OK. There we go. See how it adjusted it now? Yeah. This is an older monitor, but it still works, so that's why I use it. Let's see. Let me exit. Okay. Now go in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to, you know what, I'm going to change it to the defaults. There should be a way to reset all these settings to, yep, apply defaults and exit. Because it's possible somebody went into the BIOS and just turned it into spaghetti where you got to just do all this crap just to get the goddamn fucking computer to boot off the hard drive. So apply defaults and exit. And then say yes. And hopefully we don't see that that absurdity. Oh, there we go. Right there. There we go. Invalid system disk. Replace the disk and then press any key. I told you, man. I told you I know what I'm doing. Now, I don't like to use the word expert, but I know a lot about computers. I don't know everything because it's virtually impossible. Every day there's new operating systems being released if you want to get technical, because there's all kinds of different versions of Linux being released every day. There's new hardware being released every day. You can't know everything. There's new technology being released every month or year or whatnot. But I know what I'm doing, man. Alright, so we got that fixed. That's very important. To me, it's very important to try to make it. I don't hold hands and I don't kiss people's ass, but I've sold plenty of used computers in my lifetime. That includes eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, blah 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 blah. If you allow that kind of inconvenience, it can cause a firestorm. People will yell at you, they'll call you, they might even return the computer back. And trying to explain a neophyte on how to reset the BIOS or how to, I gotta take this call. I'll be right back. I'm back. That was a potential customer. I don't know. I think people that view me as a competitor calls me because all of a sudden they'll just ask me all kinds of questions. Well, do you know how to do this? Do you know anything about Macs? Well, this guy says he has a PC that wasn't being responsive and he took it to another computer repair shop and it's been a month and it's been a nightmare and he wants to get it fixed. But then he was talking about, well, he think maybe the video cards were going bad, or one of them was going bad, or maybe the motherboard needs to be replaced. And he's like, well, do you build computers? And I'm like, yeah, I build computers, but I charge a fee. He's like, oh, yeah, I understand. Well, then all of a sudden, out of left field, he asked me about loading, what is it, either Windows on a Mac hardware or Mac OS operating system on Windows hardware. And I was like, well, there's boot camp, but I don't mess with that crap. But you can do it. I think boot camp, let me think off the top of my head. I think boot camp is when you load Windows on Macintosh hardware. I don't know, some shit like that. I've never done it, but you can do it. And you might be able to load OS 10 on PC hardware. It's just, you understand where, I mean, come on. You called me up and you asked me about, salvaging your current computer that's freezing up and it's expensive and blah blah blah. Then you ask me about loading OS on Mac OS on Windows hardware, and then you ask me about, well, do you think it would be worth it to replace the motherboard or just build the entire system from scratch anew? And I know for a fact people flag my advertisements, my advertisements on the internet. Okay, so we are just looking at the cursor just blinking. Now, I don't foresee any hardware problems here because the BIOS posted. We went into the BIOS and we changed it back to defaults, and that cleared the menu. The problem with, that could cause a major problem. Now it just tries to boot off the hard drive, which is what I want. Especially when I sell this, especially if I sell it online. Because if I sell it on Amazon, I want the customer to unbox the computer, plug it in, hook up a monitor, hit the power button, the BIOS posts, and then it boots Windows 7, and it boots into the desktop because I don't set passwords. So I'll be back because I'm going to, right now the monitor is sitting on the desktop, although you can't really see it, but I can kind of move the camera a little bit now. So it's setting up on the PC. So I'm going to remove the PC because I don't foresee any more hardware problems. There is no hardware problems. The hard drive was wiped. So I'm going to put the PC down on the floor. I'm going to put the monitor down here somewhere so that so I can set up the camera better. And I'll be back. Alrighty then. I'm back with my flash media. I could be wrong about that caller, but I don't believe it. I could be wrong, but I don't think he'll call me tomorrow. He was just intelligence gathering with all those questions. So I'm going to load Windows 7 off a flash drive. This computer has a Windows Home Premium sticker, certificate of authenticity. And so let me boot it up. We'll power it on. I might have to hit I think the F9 to get into the boot menu. Well, come on. Well, there's no power to the... Okay. I'm waiting. What's it doing? Come on. Come on. Let's try that again. There's nothing in the DVD drive. Maybe it doesn't like the memory, the USB device. Come on. You're wasting my time. Okay, it's not posting now. All of a sudden, I didn't do a thing. All I did was move the fucking computer, and now all of a sudden it's not posting. But what we'll do is we'll unplug the power cable. Okay, I just hit the power button for 30 seconds. I pushed in on the power button for 30 seconds to relieve any electrostatic discharge buildup. And let's see. It's still not doing anything. It's very strange. Very strange. Let's see, let's turn the monitor off. Cable disconnected. Oh, there's something fucked up with the monitor. Could be loose. Yeah, there we go. It was a loose cable. There we go. All right. I didn't have the monitor, the VGA cable tightened on the back of the monitor because I get busy and I move shit around, so I don't necessarily tighten shit down all the time. Alright, what the fuck was that noise? Did you just fucking hear that noise? Somebody fucking keeps slamming the door in this goddamn fucking commercial building. I think it's the bottom floor. They slam their door so fucking loud, I can feel it in my feet, and I can fucking hear it all the way up here. If I was that fucking loud, I would have been evicted already. There we go. Now we might have to press F9. So we can Windows setup. Okay, there we go. It worked. Kind of a strange way, but hey man, it's all good. I can't wait to buy my RV. I'm gonna buy a recreational vehicle. That's what I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna buy an RV, and then about half the year I'm living in either in California or Arizona, because I've had it up to here with these goddamn fucking office environments in America, man. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? I don't know how they get away with it. I'm being serious. I really think if I was that loud, I would have been evicted already. Okay, so we're at the Windows 7 setup. So we're just going to click next. We'll accept the defaults. No need to change anything. And install now. Setup is starting. I might plug in the internet. I might be able to do it while files copy over. Yeah, that irritates me. I hate hearing somebody slam the door so loud that the entire building shakes. And it's just, especially when I have customers. I mean, I had a customer like a month ago, and it was twice as loud as that, only it was in the front of my office. And I was like, what was that? And he's like, yeah. And then he started telling me how until recently he used to live like in a cabin. He had his own plot of land, and he had his own like a cabin or a house way out in nowhere. And the only reason why he moved to a big city is so he could be around his children. But he was telling me about, all crazy, people just act crazy in cities. Oh my god. I don't want to upgrade. I'm just going to do a custom, which will be a brand new install. So it does have a terabyte hard drive on screen, as you can see, 931.5 gigabytes. Because of mathematics, I think technically a megabyte is 1,024,000 blah 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 bytes or something like that. Anyways, if it's a healthy drive, we'll just click on drive options. I'm just going to delete that partition. You know what? We didn't try it. We didn't try to restore from it. I don't see anything. Let's try that. I'm just kind of curious. If I was a betting man, I would say the recovery partition has been deleted, but maybe not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot. And I know there's a recovery option. I think I can close this. Say yes. It'll only take a few seconds longer. Yes. And then I'm going to try to reboot it. And I think it's F11. HP. Well, maybe not. I thought it was F11. It's F10 to go into the BIOS. There we go. How about network? Legacy boot, UEFI boot sources. SATA 3. Enter to, well, we could try to boot off. Oh, come on. I know. It might not work. You know why? Yeah. I swear at the beginning of this video, wait a minute, that I saw a recovery option, and it was F11, but if you notice here, when the HP screen displays, yeah, there's an escape key. So we're going to hit escape, and it might give you further options. Maybe not. Ah, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm pretty sure the recovery partition has been wiped, and that's why when I keep pressing F11, it does absolutely nothing. Well, come on, boot off the goddamn fucking flash drive. I don't have time for people's I don't have time for people's bullshit. Well, I hit F9, you fuck. Come on. Whatever, man. Oh, it's the Kingston Traveler. It's a newer BIOS, so, and then that's what you should have gotten. It should have prompted you to boot off the USB. Whatever. It's a newer BIOS, therefore it tells you exactly what the USB flash drive is. Older BIOSes will give you a generic identification. It'll tell you it's like a USB hard drive, but it won't tell you exactly what kind of flash drive it is. Newer BIOSes can detect what the brand is and all that crap. I could test it out. I could start slamming my doors as loud as that to make the entire building shake. And how much you want to bet I'll get evicted within a few days, if not a few weeks. We'll click next. Install now. I'm going to delete the partition anyways, even though it's been wiped. And Derek boot and nuke, you know. So that's another step I take. I'm not going to upgrade. I'm going to delete this partition anyways. And then I don't click new, I just click next. And it'll automatically create a full partition. Copying files. Maybe I'll hook up the Ethernet cable now while if it'll reach. I don't know if it's going to reach. Probably not. I don't know, man. I should have moved the computer somewhere. You know what? I'll worry about that later. I'm not really worried about Windows 7 updates at this point. I just want to get this fucker imaged. I'll move the computer over where I'm, you know, my camera is and my condenser mic is, where I had two powered G5, PowerPC G5 Max. I'm starting to collect a lot of computers in my little office. A lot of crap. Installing Windows. Where do you want to go today, Aaron? God damn it, Aaron, you got a nasty temper there. You should get evicted for your temper, Aaron. There's no excuse for you and your anger. Yep, hypocrites. It's okay for them to fucking slam doors and piss everybody out. Well, that doesn't piss people off. That fucking irritates me to no end. It's embarrassing when a customer hears the entire building just, you know, it was loud. I didn't even know what it was. At first I was like, no, that couldn't be somebody slamming a door. But that's the only thing I could think of. I was like, holy fuck. Maybe it's because it was in the front of my office and because of physics and, you know, radio waves, that it just sounded like 10 times louder than back here. But even when I hear those noises back here, it fucking pisses me off. Especially when it's constant. Every day. You know, every hour. Or it's like, what the fuck are you motherfuckers doing? Expanding Windows 20%. This is a good testament of, you know, if a hard drive's bad or not. You'll see some symptoms. Although I do run some diagnostics, but I've been working on computers for so many years that you can test, there's diagnostics to test the memory and the hard drive, but that to me at times, by the time you wait for all of those tests to run, memory tests can take forever, especially if it's a full test. A hard drive, if you run a full hard drive test, they can take forever, especially like on a terabyte drive. Whereas my litmus test is wiping the drive with Derek Boot and Nuke. If it wipes, the hard drive's good. Derek Boot and Nuke is pretty sensitive. It will error out right away. It'll spit out an error right away. Oh, this drive is bad. It's got too many bad sectors. We can't continue. Or, halfway through or even towards the tail end of a wipe with Derek's Boot and Nuke, or even at the end, it'll say that it failed with non-fatal errors, and it'll tell you that most likely because of bad sectors. But yeah, there is a couple tools I use. There's one called HD Scan, or I think it's HDD Scan. The problem with that is that one is portable. I love portable applications, but that requires you to take out the hard drive and slave it on another machine. Or you know what I'm saying? You have to put it into a different computer, because that one, I'm not sure if you can burn that to CD or a flash drive. I don't know. HDD Scan? I don't think you can. I could be wrong about that. I'm lucky that they have a portable version. So that takes time. I have to open up the case, pull out the drive, put it into my data recovery machine that I use for multiple purposes, which one is wiping hard drives, and then I just spend more time. But there are some tools that I use. Hiren's, I don't like Hiren's anymore. I don't use Hiren's CD that often because version 15.1 that I have burned is like 5 years old or 6 years old. I think 15.2 of the Hiren's boot CD is the latest and greatest, but I think that's 6 years old by now, or something like that, 2012. So I don't think the original creators of Hiren's support it anymore. They're not working on it. And so a lot of the tools don't work. So I just like, fuck that. But there are some tools on Hiren's that I do like. I'm trying to find... Now, some BIOSes, this is an apropos time since we're just sitting here watching paint dry or listening to loud tenants piss off one of their other tenants, but nobody gives a fuck because who gives a shit about the computer technician? He's just some fucking loudmouth individual that uses adult language obsessively at times. So who gives a fuck about him? Well, who cares if we, interrupt his quiet time? Some BIOS, I think Dell's and IBM, Lenovo, IBM, same thing. They have, I think, either in their BIOS or in the special boot menu, they have an option to test hardware. Not all computers have that. They should all have that. Now, it shouldn't be forced, but there should be a special menu where, and some of them, I think IBM, you can test the hard drive, and Dell's too, I think. You can test the RAM, the hard drive, the video, graphics card, the entire computer, really. Even the DVD drive. Back in the day, you could test the DVD drive. There should be some comprehensive diagnostics that these computer manufacturers include at boot up. But you know what? They might even load it on with the recovery partition, or there could be a hidden partition. And I just thought of that. Anyways, that's an option, but this is an HP, and I'm not aware that HP loads any kind of a comprehensive diagnostics. So my point is that I'm still researching. I'm trying to find some free and open source software that is a comprehensive computer diagnostics, where you could burn it to a CD or flash media, or you could have it on a network and create a batch file, and it'll test everything on the computer, the RAM, the hard drive, the video graphics card, the DVD drive, just whatever it can test. You know what I'm saying? And make it so that maybe it would only take half a day, or maybe overnight at the most. That would be a good burn-in test. Now, I'm sure there's some paid software out there, but I don't know. I'm not a capitalist, so I'm not rich, and besides, I like it. I actually enjoy, we can make it restart. I actually enjoy looking for free open source software, but if it sucks, I'm not going to waste time. And in my opinion, Heron's, well, it's old. They haven't kept it up to date for, 6 years now? So, back in the day it was great, but 2018, a lot of the tools on Heron's just don't work. And actually, Derek's Boot and Nuke is still being supported. It's still being updated. The most current version is 2.3, but I think on Hiren's 15.1 CD, it's only version 1.07, so that's quite a bit older. And I installed Derek's Boot and Nuke on a flash drive and with version 2.3, and it works great. It's the same old Hiren's, but it's sometimes it is good to update software. But especially when you compare it from 1.07 to fucking 2.30. And as technology, new technology comes out, well, then you start having problems with, did Hiren's 1.07, did it support solid state drives? Did it support 7200 RPM drives? Does it support all of the... Now here's another avenue too. There are tools. Most of the major hard drive manufacturers like Hitachi, Western Digital, Toshiba, some of the, billion-dollar hard drive manufacturers, they have their own tools. And it's free. You can download. I know Western Digital has a hard drive tool. Hitachi has a hard drive tool. Toshiba, blah, 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 blah. Well, the problem with that is that believe it or not all models of hard drives are supported. And with older hard drives, sometimes the newer tool, like if you download the latest and greatest Western Digital hard drive diagnostic tool, it may not actually detect older hard drives. I'm not making that shit up. So it can turn into a big nightmare trying to find tools, even though you're going directly to the source, which is what I prefer. And then another caveat with hard drive diagnostic tools, it's not an exact science. I read statistics anywhere, I would say around 50%. Those diagnostic tools, HDD scan or whatever, or the manufacturer diagnostic tools, they have about a 50% profit rate, meaning predicting the future. Hard drives aren't perfect. Now there is a concept called SMART. SMART is kind of a universal, it's a universal diagnostics for hard drives, but it's not perfect. You can run like the HDD scan tool has a SMART menu. You just click on SMART and it'll kind of quickly tell you the current, how shall I articulate this? It'll tell you, with a, dumbed down graphical display even, it'll tell you the current status of SMART for a hard drive. There's a short test and there's a longer test. But just the status of your drive, it is color coded: red, green, yellow. Red is bad, green is good, yellow is like a warning. However, there's different type of statistics for hard drives, temperature sensor, read rate, read write rate, you know, blah, 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 blah. It just goes on and on. Well, but not all statistics are the same. Like even with the HDD scan tool, in some statistical categories, the lower the number, the better. In some statistical categories, the higher the number, the better. So you basically have to look for, is it green? But so what? Let's say a hard drive, just a quick report of a hard drive, not even running a test, is all green. I just type in user. I never set a password. And the computer, now, like Windows 2000, Windows XP will give a generic computer name. Windows 7, just, I don't know why the fuck it does this. When you enter in your username, then it adds PC. It's like, well, okay. So I just put the computer manufacturer. That's what I put in for the computer name. Now, on my own network, I name my computers with a static name so I know which computer it is. If somebody requested this, or if I'm at a client setting up a computer or reinstalling Windows at a client or corporate or even a residential customer, I would ask them, would you like me to name your computer a specific name? And if they wanted me to, I would. But when I sell computers, I just put something generic. I don't give a shit. I just usually put the computer manufacturer, just something, you know what I'm saying? Something generic, but it's not like I sit there and, you know, put the model. Oh, that's right. I'll just put HP. Anyways, and it saves time. Come on, I'm already wasting time. This is stupid. Okay, let's click next. I never enter in a password when I image computers that I sell and my customers, because I've talked about this before. It'll turn into a nightmare if you set a password and the customer forgets, whether it's somebody buying the computer off of Craigslist or eBay or Amazon. You're going to get a phone call, and you may hear some curse words on the other end of the phone call because they forgot the password or it's not the right password. So I just don't set a password. They can go ahead and set a password themselves. I'm not going to worry about the product key for now. I use recommended settings. I usually set the clock to the local time, even if I'm going to sell it on the internet, because I want to set it local so that it will automatically adjust the clock correctly. They can change it on their own, or it might change on their own when they do hook up the computer on the internet if they're in a different time zone. As I was saying about my understanding of hard drive I would say computer hardware diagnostics. It's not a exact science. I've read statistics, like I stipulated earlier, 50%. So what my point is, with some of these tools like HDD scan, you can run a short smart test. It takes probably, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll give you these statistics with graphs and half-naked women in bikinis because sex sells in the perversion known as the United States of United States of America with gentrification. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so you'll get all these stats. Oh, you can even print a report. You can print out a report and give it to your customer. Well, but like I said before, not all the numbers are the same. It's not static. If you have a low number in one category, that might be bad to have a low number in another category of the diagnostic for the hard drive. And just because your hard drive passes a smart test, even if it's a short one, even if it's a long one, even if it's the full smart test that can take fucking forever, it could potentially take days, even maybe weeks or months if you have a failing hard drive. Let's say you ran a short smart test and a full smart hard drive test. Tomorrow the hard drive might fail because you cannot predict the future. But I still recommend that you run and you learn how to use hard drive diagnostics, but it's nowhere near absolutist. It could be like flipping a coin. And tomorrow, who knows? Tomorrow you may wake up and that hard drive just is burning. You walk into your office and It's like somebody fucking, you know, making s'mores, or I don't. I'm a raw food vegan. I don't cook hot dogs and hamburgers, and well, holy shit. Well, your hard drive just fucking burned up. But yesterday you just ran all these tests. All right, so then what I do, most likely, since this was a vanilla Windows installation, if I was a betting man, there's going to be missing drivers. Oh, Windows 7 Professional. Wait a minute. I know. See, the Ethernet controller is missing and the SM bus controller is missing. It's all good. I just wanted to show you, you know, imaging this computer. I'm going to probably end up wiping it with Derek's boot and nuke. With my new... You know what? Let me think. I don't want to leave the computer where it's at now because I might trip over the fucking power cable. and then you know what's going to happen? I'm going to trip over the power cable because I did not move the computer from where it's at right now. Then I'm going to trip and I'm going to fall about 5 feet, and I'm going to slam on the floor, and then guess what? I'm going to get a noise complaint, and then I'm going to get evicted, and I'm going to get a bloody nose, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. I can just see it already. So I'm going to shut this fucker down and move the computer to a more permanent position in my office. And then I'm going to show you the newest version of Derek Boot Nuke and how I just am able to boot it off of a flash drive. So you may have never seen that, but I did make a video on my YouTube channel. You can search on my YouTube channel. I did make a video showing you how to use Derek Boot Nuke, but off a CD. And I think it was off the Hiren's 15.1 CD, which is only version 1.07 of Derek's Boot and Nuke. I mean, sometimes I just quickly gaze here. Okay, 2.4 gigahertz. I'm just trying to verify what's on the sticker because I don't know. It could be a replacement motherboard. It could be different RAM, which I think it is. So a lot of these HP computers, they sell with the stickers that are very difficult to remove. But they do supply some specifications, usually the CPU speed, whether it's a dual core or quad core or whatever, the operating system, what size hard drive, how much RAM, maybe a little bit of specs about an optical drive, and that's about it. And I just try to compare because, again, when it comes to selling, it's different than repairing. When I repair computers, I really don't give a fuck about any of this, really, unless it's a hardware repair. If it's just loading the operating system, I really don't care. Why should I care? You know? But since I'm trying to sell this, I just want to make sure that I verify what I have, what the processor speed is, what kind of graphics, how big of a hard drive, how much RAM, is it 64-bit processor or not? You know, because when I place ads on the internet, I include some of the technical specifications. I don't think I overkill it, but I'm successful because I am able to sell used computers. I sold 2 old G5 Power Macs in 2 weeks. So that tells me I know what I'm doing. And remember, I am America's #1 narcissist because I've been accused of that all of my life, but especially since I appeared on YouTube. And so I thought I would just play the part. Anybody can act, so I'm just acting. Okay, fine. You motherfuckers think I'm a narcissist? Fine. I will play the greatest narcissist ever devised. Alright. So let's shut this shit down. And I'm going to move it, and then I'll be right back, and then I'm done. That'll be done for this little video. Alright. Pretty quick shutdown. And I'll just wipe it. You know what I'm saying? I'll just wipe it now. So, most likely there's nothing wrong with the hard drive. You know? The reason why I don't get obsessed over running diagnostic tools is because, like, I just went over that. You know what I'm saying? Especially with hard drives. I'll be back. I'm back. Last time I have my BitRacer. BitRacer sent me a free evaluation copy of their software, and they got all fucking pissed off at me because I actually made a honest review video that they thought that they could intimidate me into lying. They wanted me to rewrite my blog post, and they wanted me to remake the video so that I could lie to you about my review of BitRacer. But I use it now for Derek's Boot and Nuke, which it could be a competitor of theirs, although Derek's Boot and Nuke is free. BitRacer costs money. So I'm going to hook it up quick here. So I was able to, copy of Derek's Boot and Nuke onto that flash drive. And we'll power on the computer. I'm glad I moved the computer because it's in a much easier spot for me. And probably have to hit F9. Okay, Windows setup, EMS enabled. Oh, no, this isn't correct here. Let me maybe F12. I might have to go into the BIOS and specify what exact device to boot off of. It's almost quitting time for me. 15 minutes and I'm out of here. Storage. Boot order. USB floppy CD. UEFI. Disable. How about if I move and then move that one up, and then I will move this one up too. Oh, there's the USB smart key. I might have to move that one up. Hit enter, and I'll move this one up too. Okay, so they're all at the top of their categories, and we'll hit F10, and hopefully I don't have to fucking hit any keystrokes, and it should just boot off of the, hopefully. Oh no, this is not the right one. This is the BitRacer. It has two partitions on this USB drive. I was able to install Derek's Boot and Nuke on the second, I think the second partition. You usually have to manually select. I was not able to erase the first partition on that flash drive. There's a way that you can almost permanently burn a flash drive. So I tried everything. I could not, believe it or not, I could not remove it. Okay, how about this one? Well, you notice how it shows up twice? So one partition is still BitRacer, the other partition is Derek's Boot and Nuke. I think it'll be the second one. If I was a betting man, it should be the second one even on this computer. So we'll choose the second USB smart key, and there we go. Okay, so this is what exactly I'm talking about. This is how you learn. They're not going to train you these tricks and tips and information working for a corporation. They're not going to train you on all this. Just because you get a computer science degree, a bachelor's in a bachelor's in science for computer sciences, you don't learn this. You don't learn how to try to format a permanently written flash drive. Or they don't even teach you how to research. So we're going to hit enter. Now, there's different options here, as you can see on screen. F2 would be to learn more about DBAN, and it's the latest and greatest version as of like a week ago. So F3 would be for a list of quick commands. F4 would be to read the RAID disclaimer. I don't care about that. Now, there is an interactive mode. We'll go into the interactive mode, and I'll just show you. Oh, wait a minute. Interactive mode is the automatic mode. I fucked up. But it is version 2.3.0, and then I have to mess around with the goddamn monitor again. It could be this monitor. It loses the changes really easily. It pisses me off. I think, whoops. Then, okay, now there we go. Then I have to hit menu. Okay, well, I didn't want to do that. Let me show you really quick. Then I gotta run. Come on. I don't have time for this shit. Come on. I don't have time for this shit, so I'm gonna have to reboot the computer. Okay, so we're gonna hit, I think it was F9, and we're gonna select the second one, and then I fucked up and I hit the enter key because I'm so used to just hitting enter and just enter, walk away. And insert USB flash drive, enter, walk away. You know what I'm saying? So we want to go into the let's see, I think is it F3? Yes. So what you can do is you can choose different, with Derek's Boot Nuke, you can choose different ways it wipes. One version is it'll just wipe ones and zeros. So DoD, Department of Defense, wipe all disks with the Department of Defense 5220.222M method. Here's another method, short Department of Defense, RCMP, OPS2 method, Gutman method, PRNG stream method, quick erase method. I think the quick erase, I could be wrong, it's either I think the quick or the Gutman where it writes ones and zeros. You know what I'm saying? So most people should use auto nuke, which I think if I hit enter now it will load. But Derek's Boot Nuke is more convoluted and complex than you think it is. God damn, what the fuck is it with the goddamn monitor? God damn it, Aaron, your temper, Aaron, goddamn. I mean, Aaron, I sound like you now. Whoops. Come on. The newer version of Derek's Boot Nuke takes longer once you hit enter. A lot of times it errors out here, which is not a big deal, and then it does this process or whatever, or it scans PCI devices, system file FS, and if you've got a card reader, it'll fucking try to read every device, and eventually it'll get to a menu where you can just select the device you're going to wipe. And then another warning is with the newer version of Derek's Boot Nuke 2.3.0, it actually lists the USB flash drive as a potential source file system that you can wipe. You don't want to wipe the USB flash drive that you installed Derek's Boot Nuke on. I have fucking no idea why it even comes up as an option. But maybe because it's a flash drive. Whereas before I was using it off of a CD-ROM, and it, you can't wipe a CD-ROM unless it's a CDRW. But is Derek's Boot and Nuke smart enough to detect a CDRW versus a CDR? There's a difference between read-only and rewritable. No medium found. It should work. I'm hoping. It does take longer. There we go. I told you. So just be patient with the newer version. And I've tried this newer version of Derek's Boot and Nuke on this computer, which is a dual core. I've tried it on an older D620 laptop. I've tried it on my recovery machine, which is a dual core. I've tried it. My point is, I've tried it with older computers, and it takes a lot longer. So as you notice, you do not want to pick the first one if you're using a flash drive, because the first one is my flash drive. Unrecognized device, that could be, in my opinion, that I think is probably a card reader. And then here's some advice. Instead of fucking around and risking wiping the wrong hard drive, if you're using a computer, a desktop computer with multiple hard drives, just unplug everything that's not necessary. Just unplug it, even the DVD drive, because you might be sleep deprived, or you Americans and your alcoholism, and you're just always stoned, because that's all you Americans do is get drunk and high. You might wipe your hard drive with Windows 7 installed, and your boss, and it's a corporate computer, and your boss and your boss lectured you moments ago, telling you that your TPS reports were due tomorrow, but you just fucking wiped the corporate hard drive, and now there's no way possible that your TPU reports will be complete, because you don't even have a backup computer, and you didn't even back up your data to the cloud, or you didn't even burn it to DVD. So my tip here is, when you're wiping drives or you're cloning drives, unplug any unnecessary SATA connections, any rewritable media connections, even a DVD drive, just so it doesn't waste time. Especially hard drives. Just only plug in what's necessary when you wipe drives and when you clone drives. It'll save you a lot of headaches. Trust me, because I know from experience. Okay, so we're going to pick the bottom one, and you can verify it. This ST310000524AS is actually written on the hard drive. That is directly on the hard drive. All hard drives, on their stickers, their labels, they have a model number, serial number, whatever you want to call it. It's basically the same thing anyways. And it's dynamic. And it matches. It's a terabyte. So just all you have to do is hit your space bar, and it selects wipe, and then you hit F10. And as you can see, Derek's Boot and Nuke version 2.3.0, which is the latest and greatest version of Derek's Boot and Nuke. And then I hit F10, and then I run, and then literally I run out the door or whatever, and then I leave this overnight. And by tomorrow morning, it should be completed. If it doesn't complete by tomorrow morning, probably most likely there could be something wrong with the hard drive. You know what I'm saying? And so this is my litmus test. Tomorrow, and when Derek's Boot and Nuke is done, it goes from a blue screen to a black screen, and it spits out a message. Usually, there's only like two that I've noticed. It'll either say DBAN was successful, or it'll say DBAN failed with non-fatal errors, or whatever it is. And it'll tell you this is usually because of hard drives with bad sectors. Well, that's a clue that there's something wrong with the hard drive, because DBAN is designed to wipe the hard drive clean. So technically, if it was a problem with software or soft bad sectors or soft bad blocks, which Windows operating system can cause bad soft sectors, well, this should have fixed that. So if DBAN can't wipe away the bad soft sectors, as they are referred to, then it's very possible that your hard drive is suffering from bad hard sectors. You need to understand the technicality, the lingo, the linguistics. There's a in computing, just study. There's a difference between soft bad sectors and hard bad sectors. And I digress back to saying that I'm out of here. And you can make all the jokes you want about the last reference to hard bad sectors versus soft bad sectors, because I know you Americans are perverts, as well as, well, you're not all drug addicts and you're not all alcoholics, but you know, whatever. I'm sure I offended anybody listening off of that comment. But America is hypocritical. We're supposed to have free speech, but fucking everybody is hypersensitive. Adios.